Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles, having borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. I talk about my narcissistic mother who beat me, my schizophrenic father who was in and out of mental hospitals all my life. I talk about my unethical psychologist, psychologists, plural, who sexually abused me and exploited me, and all about my therapies and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former, I was going to say therapist, another Freudian slip, a former patient. I'm a former patient of almost 20 years. And so I cannot diagnose you. I cannot give you a professional opinion. All I ask of you in return is please be kind to me, be kind to other people in the comments, be respectful. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to show each other respect and kindness. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button there so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. Now on this very wet day here in Boston, I still decided to come out even though everything is soaking wet because I love the outdoors so much. Why did I act like a slut? That's the topic of today's video. Yes, I did act like a slut for a period in my life. What does a slut mean to me? What's the definition of one? Someone who sleeps around, someone who will sleep with anyone, someone that doesn't have to be in a relationship. This is just my definition, to have sex. Someone who just sleeps around. They don't care who they sleep with. They're not in love with who they sleep with. They don't have to be in any kind of commitment or serious relationship. That's my definition. Now, if you have another definition or you don't agree with that, that's okay. But we still treat each other with respect, and you can say, I don't agree with that, or, you know. No, I didn't like being a slut. And I'm going to talk about specifically, I'm going to give you details about it. Why did I act like a slut? Because during those times I was a slut, I was in the very lowest period of my life. Let's take the first time I was a slut. It was with Randy. Was I in love with him? No. You want to know what Randy looks like? Go Google the Flintstones. Look at Fred Flintstone. That's Randy. This guy was almost 300 pounds, short. He had no teeth, no education outside of a high school diploma. Married. He was married. 2 daughters, living at home. How did I meet him? I met him on AOL. Remember good AOL? In a chat room. I was at a very low point in my life. My son got stricken at 4 years old with meningitis. He had a cold. We sent him to the doctors. He got some antibiotics. The next morning he was in a coma with his eyes rolled back and his head stiff as a board, laying like this. He was unconscious. We couldn't wake him up. Called 911. Brought him to the hospital, and he was in the hospital for 2 years. He had extensive brain damage, and he almost died. He lost his mind, a good chunk of it. I mean, he lost a very huge chunk of his mind. So he's been an invalid ever since 4 years old, and he's gonna be 29 this month on the 27th. No one really came around except my dad. I didn't have anyone to lean on, and Randy swooped right in. Like my father said, he was an opportunist. My dad was the only one who came to the hospital on a weekly basis to visit Alex. No one else cared. No one else was in my corner. I told you I was an only child. I didn't have many friends, and friends never were really real friends to me. So I was basically alone, and there was Randy, who swooped in, saw an opportunity, and became my friend. And I went to the hospital every day to be with Alex from like early in the morning till 6:30 in the evening, 7 days a week. It was grueling. And my whole world just completely collapsed. And here was Randy, right there, being at the right place at the right time. That was him. Right place at the right time. And I had a 5-month affair with him. We went to hotels. He was married too. And sure, I felt like a slut. I didn't love him. I wasn't even attracted to him. Like I said, he was pretty ugly. But I just needed to escape. My son was in the hospital. I was in the hospital all day with my son in bed. He couldn't talk, he couldn't eat, unless you put yourself in my shoes, you know what I mean? People are so quick to judge other people, but unless you've been there yourself, Randy was an escape for me. When I left the hospital at 6:30, I spent the whole night with Randy. And me and my husband were roommates. I didn't even see my husband, because I'd come home, go to sleep. The next morning when I wake up, my husband already left for work. And then I went to the hospital all day to be with Alex. And then in the evening, Randy would pick me up, and I'd be with him all evening. And so I never even crossed paths with my husband. So in that instance, I was acted, slutty. This was a married man. He was married. I was married. His wife found out about us. His daughters found out about us. But I did this because I just wanted an escape. I just wanted to escape my life. And he was, my escape. Now, the next person I acted like a slut with was the guy at the bowling alley, Ronnie, another uneducated man. No education. Think of Leonard Nimoy. That's Ronnie. Both of these guys were like 12 years older than me. They were much older than me. Both Randy and Ronnie. So think of Leonard Nimoy, and then that's exactly what Ronnie looked like. But he was very short, very, very skinny, alcoholic, worked in the bowling. He was a mechanic, and he also worked behind the counter in the bowling alley. And how did we get introduced? I took my son bowling every week. Every week, there was Ronnie, given the shoes. He was a mechanic there, but he also worked behind the counter. Saw me every week, my son. Getting here, my mom. And then one time around Easter, I was paying him for the bowling, and he threw my money back at me, and he said, "Happy Easter." And I didn't understand what he meant. Why are you giving me my money back? I'm paying for the bowling. And he threw it back at me again. He said, "Happy Easter." And then, duh. I'm having a blonde moment. I dyed my hair to match my personality, you know, because naturally I have very dark brown hair, almost black. I said, oh, this guy's giving it to me for free. Duh. So I jumped up, leaned over the counter, and I kissed him. And I said, thank you. And my son, my little son, Austin, my other son, he said, Mommy, why are you kissing that man? So Alex was already in the hospital. I don't know, maybe he might have been institutionalized at the May Center at this time. I'm not quite sure. But my marriage was really practically over. My son was permanently brain damaged, and I don't know if he was still, I don't think he was in the hospital. I think he was at the May Center then. I really felt, pretty crappy, and I think we just were friends. But one time we had oral sex. What is something is, oh, that's a tie. I thought it was a leaf or something. It's the tie. What a ding dong I am. Yeah, how do we have oral sex? How do you have sex with a guy who's just your friend? The relationship was platonic, except for one time. That's the truth. And why did we end up having oral sex? I went over his house, we started drinking beer. He said, you want to watch some porn? I said, sure. Started watching porn and both drinking beer. Well, back then I liked porn. It got me horny, like it does for guys. Come on, why do we watch porn? Okay, people? Because it makes us horny. And blame it on that. We started kissing, we started petting, and then one thing led to another, and that was it. And then I felt really, like, bleh. I wasn't into Ronnie at all. We were just friends. And after that, I told him, this is not going to change anything. I just want to be a friend. What happened after that? I don't know. I don't think I saw much of him after that, to be honest with you. Anyway, the third one. Walter was like, almost 20 years older than me. Ugly as sin. How do I describe Walter? Fat, old, in his late 60s, bald, crooked teeth. I mean, you would say, Jesus, girl, what's wrong with you? Are you that ugly that you only pick losers? I guess no one is attracted to me. I guess I really am ugly. I don't know. Maybe I'm a loser myself. Who knows? Anyway, this is when I worked as a security guard. The upscale mall lost all its stores. I think I mentioned Walter before. This guy couldn't even get his dick up, and he had to take Viagra. And no matter how much Viagra he took, he still couldn't get his dick up. So we only ended up having 69 in a mirrored bathroom in a boutique, an empty boutique. We had an affair for about a couple of months. He was married too. I mean, he just kept begging me and begging me and begging me and not leaving me alone. He kept harassing me. Of course, I could have said no, right? Why didn't I say no? I was very unhappy with my life, and I was very unhappy with my job at that point, because I took the job for the social interaction. It was an upscale Newton Mall, and I was very friendly with a lot of people who worked there. Both the people, the shoppers who shopped there, and the people who worked in the stores. Then all of a sudden, one by one, like the 10 little Indians, all the stores were gone. No stores, no shoppers. And all that was left was me and Walter. And he tried to talk me in. He said, well, you had an affair before, meaning Randy. Can't you do it again? I don't know. He kept trying. It didn't last long. I ended it, and then he kept after me over and over again to go back to him, and I said. But there have been other times in my life when I act like when I was the slut. That AOL. Once the internet and AOL happened, a lot of people started having affairs because it was very easy to have affairs, because of these chat rooms. Like, the internet makes it very easy to connect with people, very easy. Like this, what is there out there now? I don't use any of these. I don't go on any of these things like Tinder, where you swipe, I've never been on that. My son has. So once, you get the internet, get on there and you start talking to guys, it gives you easy access to people that you wouldn't normally have access to without the internet. This is when I guess the internet was starting to be a big thing. Like, I don't know, when was it? Like in the 1990s, I guess. And I was meeting men. I was starting to chat with men online. And then I met them. I didn't have sex with them. There was Paul, and there was, I forget the other guy's name. I forget. It was a long time ago. But I met up with these guys, and I went out to dinner with them and fooled around with them. I forget his name. But they were nothing to me, and I was just very unhappy with my life. This is all while I'm married, meeting up with strangers, going out with strangers, fooling around. What I mean fooling around is like, teenage stuff, like when you're 13 or 14, like kissing and petting, no oral and no sex at all, just fooling around with them. And sure, I was married, and one of them was married. I can't think of his name. While I was fooling around with him, too. And I even let him into my house, and I didn't know him at all. He could have raped me, I was really stupid back then. I let these guys into my house, and one of them had a jail record, rode a motorcycle, was tattooed. Not that that means anything, but you know what I mean. Just picture the type. No education, a drug addict, an alcoholic. He carries a gun. He's tats all over him. Not that having a tattoo means that you're tough and you're, uneducated. I'm just describing him. And he had that. I'm just describing it. Like if you describe me having 80s wild, wacky blonde hair, it doesn't mean because I have blonde hair I'm a slut. It just means that you're describing what I look like, But anyway, I don't want people with tattoos to think I'm against them, because I'm not, or they I'm prejudiced, or they mean something, or I gotta cover my tracks here, you know what I'm saying? I was very unhappy with my life. I think I use these men as ways to escape, to make myself feel better. Like, all right, how did I make myself feel better with these guys? Just a distraction. That's what it was. Plain and simple. These guys, to me, were nothing more than a distraction. And I was married, and I was cheating on my husband, and this was a long time ago. We worked things out together. I think my husband, a lot of people don't understand, what did your husband think? Why did your husband put up with that? I think my husband thought it was just a phase. Like a phase I was going through. I was just going through a phase, and, eventually I'd get it out of my system and then settle down, And And, well, did I get it out of my system? I went on to have a 2-year affair with my psychologist from, let's see, I met him in 2012, Dr. James Barberia. He was the only one with a doctorate degree, $1 million condo, handsome as hell, educated, handsome, intelligent. He was the only one in my life that I dated that was a doctor, you know. He was a doctor, highly educated, handsome. He was the only one in my life who was really handsome. He had a six-pack. I mean, you could count 6. Rippling biceps, thick black jet hair, like drop-dead gorgeous, big brown doe eyes. I mean, he'd been through a lot of women. I mean, women would just flock to him. He was divorced. He was married to a Harvard lawyer who made $500,000, $500,000 a year. So, yeah, I was a slut at, you know, now, no. I mean, I even did an OnlyFans. I did pornography too, but I only did that by myself. I didn't do it with another guy, okay? My OnlyFans is just me fooling around with me. I don't know if I want to say the word. On YouTube, they'll censor it. It begins with an M. Just that. And I did that for money. I got, believe it or not, I got $150 every week from that. What do I get from this YouTube channel? I don't even think I get $20 a week. No. And I got $150 a week, every week, from doing that. See? They only think I'm good enough if I take off my clothes. That's it. That's all I'm good for is a body, right? Nothing else but a body. What else can you feel? I mean, when you get paid $150 a week, and the videos I did were like 10 minutes, not over 20 minutes. The videos I did, I put a video out a day like I do here, but those videos were only 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. Sometimes they were under 10. They might be 5 to 10 minutes. Not the type, and I didn't have to market myself because I had people pay, for my channel. They individually paid. Each customer individually paid for my channel. I didn't even market myself or do anything, I did not even put nearly half the time as I do now into these videos. And I was making $150 every week doing that. And working, like, how much did I work? The videos were like under 10 minutes. And I didn't market myself. With these videos, I put them all over the internet trying to get people to join my channel. I put them on Reddit, I put them on Facebook, I put them on LinkedIn, I put them on Twitter. With that, when I had the OnlyFans, all I did was take a video like this of me, totally naked, playing around, right? Post it on my OnlyFans, and that's it. Watch the money come in. That's all I had to do. Oh, well, I'm not going back to that, and I'm not going back to any fooling around with any other men. But, yeah, I guess I was really down in a very low time in my life, and, I felt very empty inside. I felt like I was a nobody. I felt like no one wanted me, except for my body. No one really gave a shit about me. And so, I guess I use it a lot as a distraction against my unhappy life. Something to distract me, like people go on drugs for, I suppose, an artificial high. I'm not proud of what I did, and I'm telling everyone what I did. I'm not proud of it. I do feel ashamed of it, but even though I'm very ashamed of what I did, I don't condone what I did. I'm not proud of it. I wanted to share it. because that's what my channel is about. I want to share everything that I've been through with my subscribers, so they don't feel all alone, you know, and well, so that's it for today's video.